Being content with what the market gives you. Take two. Oh man. I just finished filming this amped up fire video, and since I'm doing it from my laptop, not my usual setup, I didn't have the microphone turned on. So you guys get take two. You guys might get a better version, I'm hoping, but I was pretty fired up on the first one. Anyways, being content with what the market gives you, taking what you can from the market, ending the week strong, heading into a long weekend. That's kind of the how I'm feeling behind this video, and we'll just get into it straight up. So take a minute, breathe, you're good. First off, before I get into this, TopOne Futures did a rule change yesterday. It sucks. It sucks balls. But you know what? If it's what it's going to take for this company to be sustainable and profitable in the long run, I got to say there's nothing wrong with that. I want to trade live with these guys. Their customer service and the way the payout works and everything, just the company itself is a solid company. So unfortunate rule change. It sucks balls. I agree. I hate it. But, now they're just on par with everybody else in the industry. I wish this would have happened with the last rule change, but unfortunately it didn't. There's nothing I can do. It's out of my control. All I can do is tell you I'm going to continue to trade with them until something crazy happens, a deny payout. They got my vote right now. So I'm exclusively trading with TopOne Futures. And right now, Memorial Day sale is starting early. Use my code TRB, 55% off. The added bonuses, it's just crazy talk. So that's that. Code TRB, 55% off. You want an account with TopOne? Please support me. If you don't want it, I'm good. Like I said, and I always say, I make all this content for free. I love making the content. That's not going to change whether or not somebody buys an account or not using my code. The content will always stay the same. That's the word I give you guys. And I want you to know that I'm truly grateful for every single person that tunes in, watches a video, comments, subscribes. I'm truly grateful for that. So whether you buy an account or not, that's not going to change. You'll always have my full undivided attention. Now, let's get into what I was seeing in the morning when I got to the markets and go from there. One trade for me today, one and done. Small P&L, ending the week, best week of the month. We'll kind of get into it. So getting to the desk this morning was a little bit different for me today. I'm on the East Coast visiting my sister. I'm in Toronto, so everything is 3 hours ahead for me. I'm used to getting up at 5 a.m., trading by 6:30 a.m., and being done by 9:30 a.m. Well, for me today, I got up at 6 a.m. Market doesn't open until 9:30 a.m., so I had 3.5 hours until market open. It was interesting because I got to spend some time doing some post-market work that I usually do pre-market, which was pretty cool. But again, just rebalancing and figuring it out. I want to be traveling and trading a little bit on the road here and there, so these are the things you got to do. Getting to the desk, you can see we had this price action yesterday into the overnight session. Buyers and sellers just chop around the start of day VWAP, the daily VWAP. And then heading into the London session, the buyers kind of take control with the sellers stepping back in. And then we get this tariff news coming out that Apple is going to get charged a 25% tariff on everything manufactured outside of the US. I think, don't mark my words on it. Anyways, Apple, 25% tariff, not good. Sellers put their foot on the gas, bring it down here. Buyers find some support down here, and it kind of chops around. So looking at this, everything is telling me short, you would think. That's the bias. But you can have a bias sometimes on, it's a Friday, low volume. Who knows what's going to happen? There was a naked point of control at 58.28 that basically held price up here in the Thursday pre-market, and price slid right through it in this sell-off. And so the next naked point of control is down here at 57.25, which I have on my chart. There's one up here at 6,010, but this is obviously a lot closer. We're below the previous day's value area low, the point of control value area, all that stuff. So this is screaming shorts. But again, I don't want to come in with a heavy short bias, because now that you had the sell-off, I could see price chopping around today here in the meantime. And I think you want to be aggressive and just either be short or long, but just be aggressive about the way you trade. Now, we'll have a quick look at the trade, but I want to show you something that was very interesting for me today. Was I put an anchor on this low a day VWAP down here. This is the low a day setting in after this big sell-off. For me, this is just signaling there's a buyers down here, and the buyers that got in here don't want price to get below this. And you'll see here, there's a beautiful hold there, a beautiful hold there. Something interesting I've been just trying to pay attention to is, where do I think the most buyers or sellers are in at a high or low a day, and having a VWAP there and just paying attention to see what price does around it. Now, getting into the actual trade itself, yes, you can see pre-market, we set this low, price chops around, we get this push up into the New York Open, and this is my trade. Price pushes, we open above the New York VWAP, we take it, we get a small pullback here, orders fill at 5,800, come back down, we hold this low a day VWAP. I decide to get long here on this candle open above the New York VWAP. Price pulls back on me, but again, holds this low a day VWAP. Beautiful. I'm confident in the trade. I'm good. I'm not worried about it. The only thing that changed is there was news coming in at 10 a.m. U.S. home sales. Even though it was red folder on Financial Juice, and we don't really look at U.S. home sales to be a big mover in the market nowadays. I don't want to take any chances. So I'm sizing a little heavy. I'm 10 micros and I got a 20-point stop. So I got about $1,000 of risk already. I want to open my stop up, but I don't want to add any more risk than the $1,000. So Lawrence and Austin on stream, who I'm streaming with on ASFX TV, and Tanner today was just a beautiful day of streaming, gave me the advice to just take some size off. And you know what? I never really thought about doing that. And I took some size off, and I took it off actually for a $100 loss on the trade, which is okay, because it would have been a way bigger loss if I had kept the full size on and I left my stop where it was and I got wicked out on the news, right? That would have been a $1,000 loss. So I took some size off. I opened my stop up because I know that price could just easily, the sellers could wick this thing right down to this opening range low and stop me out. News comes in, does absolutely nothing. Murphy's Law, that's just my luck. And we get a nice push off the New York VWAP. Price rejects off of that opening range high. Another push off the New York VWAP. These orders at 5,800 fill, that was, or 5,810 fill, that was a target of mine I was looking at. I closed the trade there. I could have held on, but you know what? This was one of the times I thought, it's Friday, it's heading into a long weekend. I've had a nice green week. Why do I want to end this with a loss? And I took $250 out of the trade on each account. It would have been $360 if I hadn't taken this size off, but it could have been minus $1,100 if I hadn't taken the size off. So, just proud of myself the way I manage it. Just being content with $500 on a Friday for an hour's work. Like, you can't go wrong with that. And that's what I think people fail to understand, is just being content with taking what the market gives you and being okay with it. And when you look at the chart, actually, if I would have just stayed in the trade, what would have happened? I would have been, this is where I kind of was looking at this when I thought about it, I would have been just chopped around to death. And I probably would have closed break even, or thought, closed here at the New York VWAP on these red candles down. Like, I just want to take some profit. So, these are, when you look back in hindsight, you should really reflect and study your trades to understand what you might have did right or wrong, and how staying in something could have hurt you or done you better. And looking at it, if I had to redo the day, to be honest, I think this is just a beautiful long setup, right? So you have this hold of this low day VWAP here. We break the top of the opening range. We chop around here. We get a pullback around the New York VWAP. But this break and retest, again, with this beautiful hold of this low day VWAP, like, look at how nice that is. You get long here on the confirmation of the break and retest. You held this low day VWAP. You take this up. I don't know where you pull profits. I don't have Bookmap open. I can't tell you where the liquidity's sitting. But, if you really want to think about it, you could be, if the order's at 10 filled and you got a pullback, the order's at 20 fill and you get a pullback, just a round number. I'm just throwing that out there. That's probably what I would have saw on Bookmap. I might have even seen what was down here at 18 and taken profits, but just a clean trade if you look at it. That's a clean long on a day that's choppy. You know what I mean? Like, what do we got here? We got a price is sitting within 40 points. Not even 35 points, 36 points. Right? And you could get caught in that chop. And who wants to be stuck in chop on a Friday? Mentally exhausting. Mentally exhausting. Let's have a look at the dashboard. There's my calendar. Best week of the month so far, but again, 1,300 week 1, week 2, 400, 1,200, 2,600. See how I end the month strong, but this is zoom out. This is what I want to look at when I see a calendar. These red days are here, cool, but what's on the end? What's at the end of the week, and what's going to be at the end of the month is what's going to matter, and what's going to be at the end of the year is what's going to matter. So that's it. Again, TopOne Futures 55% off. Use my code TRB. The rule change sucks, but it is what it is, guys. It's going to keep the company profitable and sustainable until these guys start doing weird shit. And if I hear a payout getting denied or something, then we're going to have this conversation again. But right now, like I said, in the prop firm space, these guys have the proven track record for their payouts and their customer service and everything else, and not denying payouts. So I'm going to give them credit for that. This rule change does suck, but like I said, it's going to keep them in the game longer. The longer in the game, the more money we make, the better my path to live is going to be. Your path to live is going to be, if that's your goal. And yeah, thank you for being here. Always love you guys. Appreciate it. Love the support. You know, I make these videos, and the more and more I make them, the more amped up I get and the more excited I get. So big giveaway coming on Monday. Stay tuned across all the socials. Follow me at the Randy Baines everywhere. And yeah, enjoy your weekend. Have fun. Happy Memorial Day. I will see you guys all Tuesday.